So welcome. We are here in Sweden today, Stockholm, to present this last live session of this year, but we will start again next year. And this is live session number 9 about
already?
Yes, about orientation and mobility with LEGO Braille Bricks, of course. So today, let's take 5 minutes maybe to know who is here with us. So we have a poll, a very easy one with 3 questions that is launched. If you can take a moment to answer those 3 questions, it will be interesting for, I guess, everyone. So the first question is, where are you from? So we have made a list of different continents, so Africa, Asia, Europe, North America, South America, and Oceania. That's a good way to see if we are good in geography or not. And we are curious, so if you can put in the chat where you're from, it could be great. We can already see that we have Anne.
Bonjour, Anne.
From Quebec. Then the second question is, what is your job title? So of course, you have a list that we've made, but you also have another possibility. Same thing, if you can put in the chat where what is your job title, if you are not a teaching assistant, a mainstream teacher, a TDI.
What means other?
Exactly. Then question number 3 is nothing.
Oh,
it's a mistake.
Oh.
That is question number 4 that is interesting is, do you use LEGO Braille Bricks? So you can answer yes, no, or not yet, if you're willing to have access to it. So let's say we have 1 more minute, and maybe meanwhile, one thing that is also really important is you may have noticed that this session is recorded, and it will be added in a few moments on YouTube, so you can have access to it. You can share with your friends if they are not here today with us. And today we have a special guest, so maybe she can introduce herself. So we have Amanda from Texas. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, y'all. Hi, guys. So yes, my name is Amanda Guerrero. I'm the Orientation Mobility Specialist at Lighthouse for the Blind of Fort Worth, DFW area, Dallas, Fort Worth, and all the little suburbs all around it. I've been born and raised in Texas, worked in Florida for a little bit after I got certified. I miss the beach, but I love my mountains and the Texas. I just love it. I love being back home. And I enjoy what I do. I get to work with folks all the way from my youngest student he just turned 4. My youngest student just turned 4. And then we go up through the children's ages. And then I also get to work with adults when we're not working with the kids. So a little bit of everybody.
Yeah, so we met Amanda 2 months ago, I guess, in Texas. And she was it was so interesting to discuss with her that we proposed her to present this orientation and mobility session. So thank you, Amanda.
We can see in the chat that we have a lot of people from Texas. So you have a fan club, Amanda, I guess.
Yay!
And we have some person from Arizona also, Phoenix.
Quebec, Qatar is here with us, UK, Hungary. We have Anastasia from Greece. Hello. Canada, Lisbon, and Gorette.
Hello, Gorette. We have Montana,
yes.
Virginia,
England again.
Michigan. We have all the states from the United States.
And a lot of people from England too, and Portugal. Okay. New York, LA, and 2 people from Qatar. Thailand. Great.
And continue to share in the chat, and during all the session we will ask questions to Amanda. Mary will interact with her, but also if you want to give your point of view, questions, comments about what is said during this session, of course you're welcome to do so in the chat. I will be the one reading what is in the chat.
Okay. And just for you to know, we had the same session previously in French 1 hour ago, and the next one today will be in Spanish. So in case you would like to have the 3 languages and watch them. You will find them in YouTube.
Yeah. So maybe we can end the poll to see who is here with us. So we have 6% of persons from Asia, 46% from Europe, 48% from North America, no one from Oceania and South America.
And Africa.
Yes. Then about the job title, 38% are TVI, 6% mainstream teachers, 4% teaching assistant, no occupational therapist. Mary will be sad.
I'm here.
Yeah. We have 42% of orientation and mobility specialists, welcome, and 48% of others.
38.
Yes, thank you. So once again, if you want to share and tell us what is your job title in the chat, you're welcome. And last question, do you use LEGO Braille Bricks? 38% say yes, 10% no, and 52% not yet. So we hope that you will use them after this session. So maybe it's time to start.
Yes, Amanda. So you prepare the presentation. I'm going to start it right now. Do you have access? Yes, we have it. And then the beginning would be to talk about orientation and mobility, what we call in France, locomotion.
Oh, today I learned. I did not know that's what it's called in French.
So you can say locomotion.
Locomotion.
It's locomotion. And it's this name that we have also in Quebec, in Belgium, Switzerland, all French-speaking countries. Very
nice. So for y'all who are not familiar with what orientation and mobility is, you'll hear it abbreviated O&M, and it's a 2-part type of training for folks who have a visual impairment. And the first part of it is orientation, knowing where you are in your environment. I'm in the mini conference room and knowing what's around me. And the mobility aspect is knowing that I can get around within this conference room safely. So where I am, if I were to, put a blindfold on and have to get to the front door with no cane, I could do it. It's not going to be very safe. I'm going to have some bumps and bruises types of a thing. So the safe component is the important part, safe travel skills, getting from point A to point B. And it can look like anything in our training. It can look like anything from the long canes, the red and white canes, the white canes, to even just, a lesson could be understanding your spatial awareness, what is around you, and being able to understand, okay, there is a chair on my right and a table in front of me, and there are chairs to my left, but knowing where I am amongst these chairs and tables. So that's kind of the breakdown of the orientation mobility. What we're going to talk about today is going to focus on the orientation aspect. And I will say, I don't want the certifying agency to come at me. I do not teach Braille. I'm not qualified to teach people to read Braille, but I do use the bricks for the orientation aspect of the training. So that's my little disclaimer for that one.
Okay.
So yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So today, what will be our focus?
Today, we're going to focus on memory and recalling information, really important when you have multi-step directions, your map, your GPS, things like that, and then remembering the layout of a room when you leave and come back to it, being able to say, oh, yes, I remember how this is set up, and just recalling that. We're going to talk about exploring the space around you, the spatial exploration and negotiating obstacles. Sometimes as adults, we forget we have to break it down for our kids, especially when our kids are new to this, new to navigating their environment. And when you just say, go around it, what does that mean? So we're going to talk a little bit about how to break that down for your students. And also mental mapping and spatial updating, having that image in my brain of this is the layout of the room that I remember. But if I'm in the far back corner of the room is going to look different from this corner if I'm facing the door versus if I'm facing the door looking at the corner that I'm sitting in. So how do you update your understanding of where you are in the space?
Okay. Thank you. Great suggestions and topics to cover. So maybe we can start with the building memory and recall.
Yes. So memory and recall. So I had a student. He was going into the 9th grade when we met. Smart kid, super smart. But if I gave him directions, all right. Bob is my go-to name for everybody. Okay, Bob, I need you to go down the hallway, make a right, a left, a right, and a right, a multi-step direction for his orientation. He remembered go down the hallway and make a right. And then he'd say, I forgot. What's next? Can you just text it to me? Okay, so we're so reliant on our cell phones and our technology. We're not using our brain. And because we're not using our brain, we're not using that memory part of our brain. We don't retain the information like that. And that's a skill that you have to practice, just like every other skill. So there's actually a game you can play with your students to challenge their memory. There's memory games. There's a few in the Braille Bricks curriculum that are actually really fun. There's the card games for if your students are low vision, to practice that recall of where the animal or the letter or the shape is as you flip and turn them back over. But this game, it's cool. You can start with, Marie, could we go to the next slide?
Yes.
Please. So this game is fun. You start with tic-tac-toe, right? Who doesn't love tic-tac-toe? And so there's actually a game on the LEGO Braille Bricks on how to introduce tic-tac-toe and how to play it. And once your student has the understanding of that, we've got the spatial exploration, the relation of one space to the other and how in the layout. But then we also go a step further into, because we want to challenge that memory skill, right? So up on the screen, we have a tic-tac-toe board. It's divided into the grid with red bricks. My go-to is the A brick because there's so many of them. You can also use yarn. I'm holding up a board and I've got some sparkly purple yarn that I use to separate my board into the tic-tac-toe grid.
Yeah,
and
we can do it with Play-Doh. It's working well too.
See, Play-Doh. I need to find Play-Doh. It's in my craft box and I couldn't find it, but I found the yarn first.
Or wiki stick, the small sticks that we use for
Yes.
raised drawing. They work fine.
And that's what Lauren suggested.
Oh,
I use
wiki
WikiSticks.
WikiSticks.
Yeah.
Great.
Good job. Yes. Yeah. WikiSticks, whatever will. So in O&M, we have a saying, whatever works.
Yeah.
Whatever works type of a thing. And you explain. Yes, sir.
Just one thing, because we also have Mary saying something about tic-tac-toe. That's the name in the US, but in the UK, that's called nuts and crosses.
Really?
So that's an international knowledge sharing.
In French, we call it morpion. Morpion.
Yeah. Okay.
I like this. Okay. Y'all came to the webinar to learn things, and I'm learning things. I love it. And so you'll take your nubs and crosses grid, hey, and you'll number it, 1 through 9, starting in that top left corner, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? And so you'll tell your students, I'll tell Bob, okay, Bob, we're going to play mental tic-tac-toe. And, he looks at me like, mental tic-tac-toe, like, what are you talking about, Miss Amanda? It's like, okay, so I explained, 1, 2, 3. And so on the board, we would go together 1, 2, across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I was like, all right, so I'm going to be X. I place my first X in 3. Where are you going to put O? And so Bob, young Bob was saying, okay, well, 06. And so now we have to remember where we are placing our letters as we continue through the game. So what did I say? X3, 06. Okay, Bob, I'm going to do X5. And you just keep going. And so this is great for if you're, those rainy days where you need to have some downtime and when you have some downtime and you need something to do, this is a great game to play. It's a great car game too, while you're driving to get to your lesson.
And you have a question that Mary is asking. She says, how do you, as a blind person, how do you know, I think, which is the right way up to put it, or to put it another way?
Like the number placement?
No, I think maybe I'm wrong, but how do you know the orientation of your grid? So to be sure that one is top left, if you make it turn, is it that question, Marie, or is it that you are asking how we recognize the orientation of the brick?
Yeah, I guess it's about the orientation of the plates, because she suggests to add something in the corner to indicate where is place number one. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Yeah. Tactile marker or something.
Okay. Yes. So on the board, the picture is upside down. That's my bad. The bricks are upside down. Yes, you can totally put, just like on a map, you can put something in the top right corner or at the very top of the page, so you know the orientation of your board. I had not thought of that.
Maybe if I show, I have an empty board here, so we can have one brick at the top left corner, so we'll know that this is always the one here, and it's always the same one. I hope it answers your question.
That's actually a great idea, because you're right. This number sign shape, there is no designated up down. So that's actually a really great suggestion that I had not thought about. Thank you, Mary, for your question.
I may have another suggestion. You will tell me if you agree. We can also number the spots, but not horizontally, but vertically. So it can be 1, 2, 3. In the middle, we have 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9, just to stick with the way we number the dots in the Braille cell.
Yep. You could, that would work also.
Yeah.
My brain shifts to your cell phone screen. So that's where I number across.
Yes, but 2 options.
Well, and then here we go. We're challenging that memory skill. Okay, you know, to your student, we're going to play it with the numbers going across, up left, across to the right, and then going down right. And then, okay, cool. We played a couple of games that way. You're doing great. We're going to make it harder. We're going to change where the numbers are, and then do that 1, 2, 3 up down, like the Braille cell.
Yeah.
So
someone is saying that the Braille cell is only 2 by 3 stud. I know, but it's just the way we count them and we number them is not horizontally but vertically. So that was just to challenge your brain. That can be another way to do it.
Yep. Well, and think about your tests, right? When you're in school as a student, you have your tests, and usually on your paper they number down 1, 2, 3. If it's a column, go to the middle, down 4, 5, 6, like the Braille cell, and 7, 8, 9. So it would be also a way to help your student understand, well, number 3, number 5. Number 5 is 1, 2. I don't understand why I got it wrong. Okay, well, your number 5 is not the number 5 on the paper. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, great.
And what Louise said also is that talking about the number layout is a great conversation to agree with the kids and the student, and your suggestion to play orally to this tic-tac-toe. You just have to agree with the person you are playing with, where are number 1, 2, 3, and so on.
And then we can go to Sudoku.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually have not related. One of my university students was telling me he was playing Sudoku, and I said, I need you to explain that to me. I've never seen Sudoku for someone with no vision, and he was explaining it to me, and my brain was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
So that is a possibility.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
So sorry.
No.
Okay. So once your student, you're playing your tic-tac-toe game, Bob's doing so much better with remembering multi-step directions and instructions. All right, cool, fantastic. We're going to elevate this a little bit. Let's use this grid to talk about your cardinal directions. I don't know about y'all, but anytime I ask my students, are you familiar with, have you heard of cardinal directions? What, like birds? Like, what are you talking about, birds? No, yes, those are cardinals, but no, that's not what I'm talking about. You know,
We
north,
have
south.
to explain because the cardinal is a bird that you have in the US. I'm not sure there are cardinals in the UK.
A red cardinal?
Yeah.
The red ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're so pretty.
We don't have them in France.
Oh, well, it's the red bird. So my student is thinking I'm talking about an animal.
Yeah.
And so, but so you can use this board to introduce the cardinal directions, the north, east, south, west. And so we do have an image up on the screen where we have that grid. And in the top center square north, the middle bottom square south, the middle right square is east, and the middle left square is west. And Marie has it demonstrated on with the Lego bricks. I use sticky notes. Marie's using Lego bricks to help the student understand the location of these. Yeah. So then you can get into, all right, if your house is south, your house is in the southern part of the city, and my house is on the eastern part of the city, where, show me on the grid, here's a house. You can use a Monopoly house, you can use a brick house, like a Braille brick. Here's my house. My house is on the eastern part of the city.
Oh.
And did you have that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, see?
So maybe my house will be here.
In that southwest?
Southwest. Where is your house, Mark?
And southeast of France, from here.
Okay, good.
See, and so now we've taken that tic-tac-toe grid to the cardinal directions, which so in Texas we have something called the ECC. It's criteria that the students have to hit within their education,
Expanded core curriculum.
And so we have that here that falls under it. Playing tic-tac-toe checks a box in that ECC for y'all if you need it. And so but yeah, so it's a fun game, tic-tac-toe. You can play it on your board, you can play it mentally, you can use it to start introducing your cardinal directions for maps and understanding that. You can have your student play routes. So once you put your house in the southwest corner, all right, here's your minfig, your person. He needs to go to the grocery store to the north 1 space, and then he moves him up 1 space, to the east 2 spaces, over 2 spaces, and to the north 1 space, up 1 space. So you can start playing with your maps and directions, just you keep taking it a little bit farther.
Okay, and we have Marie saying, but the grid still has to have the top designated. But remember, we still have the letters, so N for north at the top, S for south at the bottom, and then we have E for east and O, it's O, but it's in French. W for west.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, so that is tic-tac-toe elevated. And it's really fun. You're practicing that memory recall for your student, which is going to be important, right? You're engaging with your student. If you have another student who's on the same lesson, they can play each other. So they're engaging with peers, learning to play together and take turns. There's abstract thinking when you take it to the mental playing field with it. And also it's also helping you with your scanning techniques, because the scanning for Braille, it's that left right pattern and then slowly shifting down line by line. In orientation and mobility, for your students with low vision, you can teach visual scanning, and that is, as they're walking, it helps them take in more information around them without moving their head side to side and getting dizzy. You're scanning your eyeballs side to side. It's a scanning technique, and so you're reinforcing it with this game also. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So our next game to talk about is going to be focusing on the spatial exploration and negotiating obstacles. And this one I started playing with the Frozen Penguins game on the LEGO Braille Bricks. And Marie, do you have that board with you?
Yes.
Yay. So Frozen Penguins, if y'all are not familiar with it, you have your board, and along the left side of it, going from the top to the bottom, you have a brick and then a little bit of a space and another brick and a little space, and this goes down the left side of the board. And so your students' job for this game is to, each brick is a penguin, and each penguin needs another penguin to snuggle with. And so you take a brick and you match them up next to each other. And so that's the goal, is your student is scanning the board, they're locating the object, and they're matching next to it equally. And so I was playing with this Frozen Penguins game, and I had a student who, he's a 12th grader, so a senior over here, last year of high school before he graduates and transitions out. And he lost his vision very suddenly later in life, within the couple of years before I met him. And so he's having to relearn everything. And we were going for a walk around the block. And over here in the Fort Worth area, there's spaces where the cars are allowed to park in the street, and there was no sidewalk. So what do? You have to walk kind of in that gutter. And so we're walking, he's doing great with his cane skills, no problems. And we came to a car, and most folks will, I know I do, will walk on the curb rather than go around into the street to go around the car. And that's what he was trying to do. And this was one of those situations where I was like, all right, what did you find? Oh, this sounds like a car. Okay, go around it. Let's go around the car. And he was trying to go back to what he used to do before by squeezing between the curb and the car and not go in the street. And it was a quiet enough street that it would have been safe to go on the outside part of the car. But what I was saying was not clicking, and he was not understanding. We were just not understanding each other. So I was playing with Frozen Penguins. I was like, what can I do? How can we make this relevant for him? And we made another game. So we are going to look at Frozen Penguins, but we're taking it kind of in a different direction. I've cut off half the board. I used just some bricks to kind of block it off. You can also use some Play-Doh, yarn, a shower cap. I think at one point I was toying with a shower cap and a paper clip or a binder clip to reduce.
You can take small plates if you have them.
See, so yeah, because we want a smaller area to work with versus the large base plate. And I took some bricks, and I cheated, and I put two next to each other, and I started placing them on the board. And so, Marie, do you have that plate? Yes. Oh, perfect. So I kind of cheated a little bit. I put the two bricks next to each other. In the picture that's up on the screen, I have a blue and a yellow. That's for my brain. The color doesn't matter unless you want to reinforce color identification with your student. The letter doesn't matter unless you're wanting to focus on letter identification with your student. This is just like kind of the base of the game. I put them down next to each other, and when I was laying them out in pairs, I was laying them to where there was big spaces between the set or skinny spaces between the set where they could only fit together in one spot. And so I laid them out in their doubles. I took off the yellow ones. In this case, in my case, I took off the yellow ones. And so the student was left with what we have on the screen, a scattering of blue bricks. And right now, when to start with, I oriented them all the same direction, that vertical appropriate position for the bricks with the letters. And then we played a game. This student, he's a 12th grader. He not really interested in let's talk about bunny rabbits or things like that. You can, a bunny rabbit with his carrot or a penguin with his friend. He's not really into that. So it was Christmas time, right? This was back around Christmas time. All right. These are all your relatives. Here is a bowl of gifts for each of your mom, your dad, your sister, your cousin, your aunts and uncles. You need to give each of your relatives a gift. And so we're talking about his family dynamics, talking about family relationships, things like that. Tell me about your life, because as I learn more about my student, I feel that we're able to connect with them better and teach better and engage them better. So that's why we went with that. And so my student, can we go back to the other slide with the doubles? Thanks. So my student would take his bricks, the presents. All right, what are you going to get your mom? Oh, I'm going to get my mom a scarf in this really soft material she likes. Great. Match it to your mom brick. And so he would match it. And the goal is for your student to match the bricks snug next to each other for each one. But the second brick that they are adding, in this case, the yellow brick, cannot be touching more than one person. You can't share the gift with more than one person. And so he has to navigate with his hands the space around the starting bricks to figure out where is the most space around it for him to add it. And so in the far right corner of the picture we have up, it gets kind of narrow, and I make little tricky spots on purpose. There's two starting bricks that are kind of catty corner to each other. They're sharing the top left and the bottom right corner, so they're just diagonal to each other. Well, there's only one place for each brick that you can match the gift, the present, next to each brick, or it'll be touching two blue bricks. So that's the goal for this game, is to, you're searching the board, you're exploring the wide space and the skinny space, and you're matching. So I hope that makes sense on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. I get a little lost in my thought process sometimes.
No, that's really clear.
It's really meaningful for me, at least, to
Yes.
have present and relatives.
Yeah.
So
And we also tried something that was, I don't know if you're familiar with the activity called apple trees. So you have a lot of apple trees
Yes.
in it. And then we asked the child to put a bench near each apple tree, because we would like to sit under the tree. It's summer day. So they also had to match trees and benches.
Perfect. Whatever your student loves. And so that's where, this student.
And be able to run around the trees and benches.
Or if okay, I'm tired, I'm gonna go lay under the tree. Okay, well, if you lay out not in the shade, you're gonna get a sunburn. You need to be under the tree. So now we're talking about next to, above, below, more of those concepts in this game. So it's a lot of fun. It can
and if you like a lot gifts, you can also put on top.
We'll see. And that's where there was, I don't remember what we were doing, but one of my other students, when we first played this, I was not very clear. And so she was just putting them on top. I was like, you did great. That is fantastic. That is a choice. You know, we have options. That is a choice. We're going to keep.
Thanks to the students, we learn a lot by
Oh my gosh, yes. We do. And so, so with this student, once he understood what we were talking about with this setup, with your, exploring the space around, wide space and little space, we went back outside. Okay, what did you find? We're walking. What did you find? This is the car. Okay, do you remember how on the game there was a wide space on one side, there was a skinny space on the other? He said, yes. I was like, use your cane to explore how much space you have on both sides. And from there, okay, what side is enough space for your body to fit through? And it clicked. That worked for him once we broke it down a little bit. Because again, as adults, we forget we have to back up a little bit and break it down for our students. Even in this case, again, he was a 12th grader, he was a senior, and just kind of being like, oh, he knows this, but he's brand new to this vision loss. He's brand new to his cane. We've got to break it down for them.
Okay. Oops, sorry.
Nope, you're good. Oh, yes. And then, so once your student gets good, once they get comfortable, they're understanding it, if they ever like, can we play that game again? You can always make it more challenging for them. And so I have a kind of the same plate, but instead of all of the bricks oriented the same way vertically next to each other, I started rotating them. And when you rotate them, then you can get into more tricky situations. Here in the bottom, my bottom right, I've got a vertical set in the corner, and right above it, I have a set that's horizontal, and above that, vertical. And so this middle one that's going horizontal, there's only one place for that brick to go. Same thing with the very top set. There's only one place for that second brick to be added. On the bottom one, we kind of went easy on him, and he's got a couple of options. So to make it a little bit more difficult, you can totally start changing the orientation of your bricks. If you're introducing your letters and you're focusing on the Braille aspect, you can also pick your letters based on the analogy, the sample that you're talking about. What's your mom's name? My mom's name is Kim. Okay, find your K brick. Okay, oh, here's my K, scanning with the hand. Oh, here's my K brick. Great. What are you going to get, Mom? A scarf. Okay, look for an S. And so he has to go through his pile, look for the S, and match it back to the K. And then we're connecting back to that memory. Do you remember where the K brick is? Or do you have to start over again scanning?
Yeah. Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a question about catty corner or kitty corner. Someone did not understand. Kitty corner.
Kitty corner. Diagonal from each other.
Yeah.
Diagonal from each other.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I think we are
Yeah.
short on time.
No, it's
Okay,
we
it's
have
okay.
to go to the
Next
Oh,
one.
sorry.
Yeah, last and next presentation.
Yes.
Mapping.
Yes.
Yes. So this one, y'all bear with me on this one. I was listening to a presentation about, oh gosh, what is it called? The Stewart tactile map system, and they're talking about spatial dysfunction. They're talking about like how we process the understanding of what's in the space around us. And then I started playing with the bricks, right? And a lot of my students in the grocery store, they can describe the map to me just fine. I walk in, the flowers are on my right, the bakery is on my left, They're great, they've got it. But when we're going up and down the aisles, going through their grocery list, they get lost. They're not able to update where they are in their brain all the time, or sometimes it takes them a little bit. So we started playing. And so we started with the twin sculptures game on the Braille Bricks. It's in the orientation section. And the goal for that is oh, yes. So we have a picture up. So you as the instructor, you got to do a little prep before you go. You're going to put a brick at the very top of your board so you know which way is up. And then in the lower left, you're going to build a super simple little design. And you go to your student. Okay, Bob, I've made a design. Here is a blank plate with the one brick at the top so you know which way is up. Our bricks match. I want you to copy my picture onto your board so we have matching boards. And so he does it. Great. This is a chance for your student to explore where objects are in relation to each other, recreating a diagram.
You just ask the student to recreate the same shape. You don't care about the studs on top of the bricks. So it can be any kind of bricks, even if the bricks are different, it's just the global shape of the drawing.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, this is another one where it doesn't matter which letter you use. Here in these pictures, I used the shift and something for numbers, for math. And then I used the A's because there's so many of them. But yeah, your letter doesn't matter, really. And then when your student gets that and they're like, okay, I got this, Miss Amanda. Great, I got this. Okay, you understand the shape. We're going to make it more challenging. So your instructor plate stays vertical. Their student plate is rotated clockwise or counterclockwise, just 90 degrees. This is the next level up. And they need to recreate the exact same image, but rotated. And they are not allowed to rotate your teacher plate. They can only have their plate rotated.
But
And they can go back and
they have it as a reference, so they can
Yes.
go back and check it.
yeah. And they're allowed to go back and forth as many times as they need to check and double check. That's great. And so this one, it gets a little trickier. It's going to take them a little bit longer. Eventually they will get it. They will understand, oh, you know, the starting plate goes across to the right, but when it's shifted, it's going to go up or down based on which way it's rotated. So you're challenging that spatial updating, you're challenging that problem solving, that thought processing, all of that. And then when your student gets good at it, you invert. Your board stays the same, their board goes upside down, and they have to recreate it upside down. So and this is where your students are going to start, oh, miss, I can't do that. Yes, you can. I believe in you. And, break it down, take small bites of it. Start with your first one. Okay. And I will help my students. I'll put the first brick for them. I'll be, Miss Amanda's going to be nice. I'll give you the first brick. And then, okay, there's your first one. Check your first one on your starting board, your teacher board. Where is the second brick in relation to the first one? Well, it's next to it with the skinny end. Okay, let's find the next two on the skinny end on your board upside down. So it's another fun game to practice these skills of your spatial updating, understanding how your perspective of a space changes based on where you are in position to it. And then once your student gets good at, rotate either direction, upside down, you reverse it. And so this one, it gets a little tricky to explain sometimes. If, I raise my right hand and I look in the mirror, it looks like it's the person's opposite. It's the mirror image is what you want to create. So reversed, mirrored. But yeah, so we keep just making it harder. And so there's skill progression. Just like in twin sculptures, they suggest building it flat, like a flat line diagram. And to make the twin sculptures more complicated, you build a 3D diagram. You elevate it with some level changes and things like that. When your student gets good at building the rotated 90 degrees, you can build yours in a 3D shape, and they have to match the 3D shape. So we're just adding, there's so many layers that you can add to this to make it more complex. And I tell my students, because they'll get frustrated a little bit, we take a break, we're going to pause, let's talk about something fun that they enjoy for a little bit. And I will tell them, this is meant to be tricky, for your older kids who have PE. Okay, is it hard when you have to go run a lap? Yeah, it's really hard. Okay, but the more you do it, you're exercising your body, you're building that muscle. We are building your brain muscles. We are building that muscle. It's going to be hard. I believe in you. You will get this. We're going to do it together, one at a time. So give them that space to kind of have their moment.
And it can take multiple steps as long as you have time and it's reachable for them. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And about time, I think we only have 2 more minutes to conclude this live session. So time flies when we are in good company. So that was really great listening to you, Amanda.